The thoughts, views, expressions, and opinions of this podcast, as well as its hosts, are for entertainment, educational, and informational purposes only. We simply want to encourage, shed insight, empower, equip, and inspire those who listen. We are not trained professionals or claim to be. It does not constitute or take place of actual advice from your doctor or therapist. We hope you enjoy the show. Thank you.
So what? No, we should have restarted with the Dolphins after they.
No, can we talk about her fabric?
Her fabric. This is gonna sound weird. Can you take off your?
We got a model modeling of fabric. What is it? Slide?
Yes.
Okay,
they're slides.
They're slides.
Here's the thing. It looks like worn denim, and then those are always the most comfortable things ever.
They are. They really are.
That's really, really dope. So we're going to start off the pod with denim fabric slides and her fashion statement that she's making here.
We are the epitome of podcasting.
Yes. But it looks really cool. I was like, wow. At first, like from a distance, I thought they were actually like those wedges, like those shoe wedges. Mm-hmm. That's what I thought they were. But they literally look like they're very comfortable. Yeah.
And I have the hat to go with it in the purse. So.
See, look at her fashionista ways.
Going on right now. I'm just sitting here, just waiting for them to get into a conversation.
Danny's not really into fashion.
Like, yo, this is small talk. Let's go.
Danny's like, well, Danny, you've told me this behind the scenes. Like, you don't dress yourself anymore, right?
No, every once in a while, I'll just let wifey dress me. Sometimes.
There you go. Hey, it takes a real man to admit that wifey dresses you. That's really good.
She shops for me. She dresses, but she's like, hey, I need some money for this. I'm like, all right.
Okay, so this ensemble right here for the people viewing or they're gonna view in YouTube. This was wifey or you?
No, this was actually me.
There you go.
Yeah. My brother-in-law bought me the
hoodie.
shoes. I bought myself the polo hoodie.
Yeah.
Wifey did not buy me the pants, but she literally insists on me getting black jeans on a regular basis because I like wearing black jeans.
I like black
jeans.
When
you wash them a lot,
they fade a little bit.
They fade. So,
but even like faded black jeans are becoming like a thing now.
Yeah.
Like the faded black.
Because mine are getting old, it's hard to find black jeans.
Yeah.
Levi's, man. Levi's, that's the way to go.
They don't fit me.
I do.
Levi's don't fit you. They come. You do
realize
that
this
they
man's
make
6'3". How tall are you? 6'4"?
Levi's are normally for shorter people.
For the official record, on my license, it does say 6'6", and I can tell you I'm 6'6" because there's a section of my garage my dad has measured myself, my brother, and himself. I'm sorry, my brother, my sister, and me when we were growing up, and he measured it 6'6".
Yeah.
So I knew I was 6'6" way before the DMV.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm tall. I'm a little broad, but I'm not.
Yeah.
So to make it actually look good, it's very hard to find.
Yeah.
Although we did actually recently find this thing online called American Tall, specifically jeans made for tall people.
There you go.
We ordered some. I'm super excited to get them. I'm sorry, I already know my Christmas gift. Sorry, babe.
Christmas shopping. I feel like that was almost a hit towards me because I'm not 6'6".
Did I mention your name at all? Did I infer it?
Well, we have a full house today. We got 4 people in the house, so we're going to get 4 different perspectives on the conversations and the topics that we're going to have today.
We got some spicy.
It's going to be spicy, guys, so bear with us. It's going to be spicy. We're probably going to be here for the next hour, so I hope you guys are willing to take the journey in discussing these different topics. Oh, dude, actually, for the first topic that I like to cover. By the way, I don't like doing intros, but because Sam's first podcast on here, hopefully first in many to come, because here's the thing. Here's the deal that I have for every first timer. They keep coming back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, everybody that's been here has come back. How many did you do so far? Like three? This is your 4th one?
I think this is 3.
This is Danny's 3rd. We're 89 episodes deep, and he's done 3 already. Tyler's done a bunch because he's been here since day one.
Yeah, you don't count. You just leave me as a percentage.
Yeah. So he's been here since day one. So Tyler's in the building, although he's kind of panned out of the camera, but he's here working the camera and giving us some perspective as well. And then for the people that are new and don't know who we are, my name is Javier. I'm the host of Kingdom Talks. I got my buddy Danny, Tyler, and first time co-host Sam. Hey.
Hey.
You're
Long time watcher, first time sitter.
So it's gonna be.
I'm gonna tweet that out.
So it's gonna be real fun to do. Dude, it's been a little over a week because last week life happened and we couldn't record. So sorry guys for you guys that tune in weekly. We couldn't get a show, and so it feels like I haven't done a show in a while because now I'm more geared to like seeing what's in the news cycle as far as pop culture and all these things. So it gave me an extra week to prepare and just weed through the stuff that happens in social media. And I happened to go across this video on this teacher calling out today's generation's parents and how they're raising lousy kids. And I need you guys to listen to this. Hold on.
I don't even know what's going on, but I kind of agree.
Yeah. Check this.
Oh, wow.
Check-
I don't.
Check this out. Check this out. Ready? We're gonna react to this.
I don't.
We're gonna react to this video.
Bring back spanking.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'll co-sign before the video goes. I'm co-signing it. Put a stamp on it.
Yeah, Danny always
And that's
co-signs.
the one part that gets clipped and it's gonna get viral.
Put a stamp on it. Next
All right.
thing you know.
So the caption to this video is ballet. She's a teacher, but specifically a ballet teacher. She's a young ballet teacher. I think she's in her late 20s, early 30s, and she just goes on a rant on Instagram or TikTok. And here's the video that went viral.
I'm calling out all the parents. If you're a parent
Oh.
who is in pre-K to elementary school to high school, I'm calling you out. The children today, I have never experienced, and I'm 22.
Oh, she's 22. I apologize. Early 20s.
Having to teach and work with you guys as children has been the most traumatic experience of my
Do you hear her
life.
voice?
I teach 5-year-olds ballet. 5-year-old girls ballet. I have a class of 10 students. They don't respect any authority. You ask them, can you stand in your designated spot? They're telling you no and shut up. They're throwing things at each other. They're throwing things at other people, other classmates. You say, can everybody sit in their spot? I don't want to. I'm not doing that. You don't get to tell me what to do. You're not my mom.
Badass
You
face.
confront the parent. The parent tries to argue with you and fuss at you because you tried to reprimand and redirect their kid. I told a young little girl, please sit in your spot. You're not my mom. You don't tell me what to do. Okay. When her mom came to pick her up, I said, hey, your daughter's having a hard time following instructions. And 7 times today I've had to redirect her to just sit in her spot. Well, clearly she didn't want to sit, and mind you, this is a mom. Clearly she didn't want to fucking sit right there. So, I mean, if she's telling you she don't want to do something, why keep asking her to do it? You know she's not going to do it. What world do we live in? Like, what in you guys' brain as a parent says, my kid not following any directions is a great thing. It's not that serious, and y'all don't have a right to tell her what to do. It's sad. It's sad. It's really, really sad. And another thing that's heart-wrenching is horrifying. It is horrifying. Your 5-year-old daughters are asking to listen to Pound Town and Ski Yee.
Pound Town.
Your daughters, your 5-year-old daughters are asking, can we hear
This
Pound
song.
Town? I'm playing them
This
Princess
TikTok
Oh,
Tiana
that doesn't even sound good.
ballet music.
If I
And they
play,
are asking me.
okay, so if I play 30 seconds of Pound Town, it is going to make you cringe, bro.
All
All right,
It's
so
not for the
so
kids.
so it's not for the
Okay.
kids. It's not for the kids. So I didn't know what Pound Town was. I felt really old, and I'm dating myself now. I feel really old. So I'm like, what the F is Pound Town?
You are really old.
I am really old. But
Javi, I don't think you're old.
and so I looked up Pound Town, and it's by an artist by the name of Sexyy Red. So Sexyy Red is out here twerking and rapping to the kids about getting a pounding.
I don't think she's rapping to the kids. I think she's rapping for the audience that she wants to watch her, and I
Right.
don't think her music is specifically for kids. So for parents to actually allow their kids to listen to her music is like.
Would you? But you're a parent, so I'm going to talk to you for a second, and we're going to stay here for a
Here
little
we
bit.
go.
It's immediately
So you're a parent.
Spiciness
So
is happening.
How, if you don't mind me asking, how old is your youngest again?
So my youngest is 11.
11. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
And your eldest?
14.
14. So if you're
It's only 2?
all right, so you have an
kids.
11-year-old, and you are
Making sure the facts are straight. There's all the context.
I'm assessing.
Let's go.
Dude, I'm assessing the situation.
Yeah. So your 11-year-old, right? Are you 100% confident and sure that your 11-year-old doesn't know the song or has heard of the song?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So.
That doesn't sound confident.
And I only say this because my daughter has TikTok, and I've heard her quote something in the song, and when she said it, it shocked me.
Yeah.
She didn't curse,
Right.
but I'm like, when she said it, I'm like,
It's a lot of sexual explicitives on that song, if you catch my drift.
That's right.
I couldn't imagine my daughter sitting there listening to this song,
Right.
from words, singing it. But I mean, TikTok is out there, so a lot
Right.
of kids, they really don't know the
What
lyrics.
they're
They
listening
just
to.
know,
The beat, yeah.
I know I see this on social media, so it's in trend, and I want to go by what everyone else is doing. I mean, but oh God, no.
Do you feel like, okay, so does it, I feel, this is my just personal, obviously this is all opinionated, so don't attack me like in the internet world, right? I get people like weirdos DM me, but anyway, I digress. So I personally believe that it's a little, me and Danny and Tyler we don't have kids, but we do have little ones that around us in our family. I have a 6-year-old niece. I have a 9-year-old nephew who are basically like my children because my brother is doing time and he's not going to be home until 2029, 2030 at this point. So I'm, helping the family raising these children. And even when I have them part-time, I find it very difficult to monitor what they view because TikTok is such a viral thing. And the TikTokers are so young because they want to do what's trending on the TikTok dances and the TikTok challenges and the TikTok trends, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that we shouldn't put all the responsibility on the artists because at the end of the day, they are artists and that's the way they want to express themselves. But my only pushback is like, that the young generation is going to listen to your music. Why are you so irresponsible with the verbiage and the slangs that you guys are saying? Because it's very explicit what they're saying. They're talking about booty holes being brown and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, because you couldn't find any other word to rhyme with Pound Town.
I don't know how to like. That's just like going back to when we were younger,
Right.
when artists came out, with their music and stuff. Our parents, they couldn't shelter us
Right.
with, the explicit lyrics that we were hearing back then. And I mean, I think the only difference is now is social media is here, so it's very open for kids to have access to this stuff, rather than when we were younger, either you turn the TV on or you turn it off. You can't listen to it, that's it. But we can't control everything that's on social media. And I don't feel like it's up to the artists to actually raise our kids. It's up to us to say, hey, you're not going to listen to that, or hey, that's not for you. I mean, they're going to be kids. They're going to do what they do regardless. But I don't feel like it's up to the artists to have to be careful to,
So essentially the responsibility falls on the parents, right?
Yes. And
Would you agree?
We just live in a crazy time
Right.
where everything is literally at the tips of your fingers. I mean, it's just literally it's crazy because back in the day, you want to look up the definition of something, you have to go to the library. You got a good thought, like what is it, those 30 encyclopedias that they have, and the textbooks are like huge.
Or you learn it from a friend.
And these
you're
kids,
like, oh my gosh, my friend told me this, and it's like, what? You're an idiot. No.
And these kids have no clue about that. But at the end of the day, like, we just live in a crazy time where everything is blasted. Just because we have the ability to put out, you know, everything on social media and for everything to be out there doesn't mean that we should. I feel like no matter what the extent is to artistry or to any platform and internet and sharing media all together, there's never going to be enough censorship.
Right.
Like, it does. It's the whole thing of like, hey, raise your kid. If you raise your kid correctly, they'll be able to understand that. Whenever they become of age to start saying things and start understanding things and listening to things, like, that's when you should have a talk. Like, hey, you know, this is an artist doing this. This is what they believe. Yeah. This is what we believe, and this is why we believe this. Yeah. All right. I don't understand how it's got to this, but it's pretty bad.
Yeah, it is pretty bad, because I don't think that reaction to that teacher, who happens to be a 22, 23-year-old, is the outlier. I think there's more to it that I don't think, and there's more. I'm sure there's a ton of different scenarios and experiences that people in that world, whether they're teaching at schools and educational institutions, or ballet like she is, or any other instructional field, whether it be coaches, teachers, art teachers, music teachers, etc. I think that we're experiencing more situations like this young lady had. I don't think that she's the only one. I don't think she's the outlier. I do feel that in today's society, the major societal issues is what we listen to. There is a thing that it does to our mechanisms, to us spiritually, to us emotionally, and like the things that sonically come into our ears. It does something to us.
It's the frequency,
right? So it just does something to us that is very influential in the spiritual world. Is very influential in what you input is what your output is going to look like. So if you're going to be listening to a lot of trash, I think you're going to be a very borderline trashy individual. That's why these kids, I believe, and I could be wrong, and you guys can push back, but we're seeing more badass kids because they're just giving a tablet and no one's policing it, because you got two parents, or maybe an absent parent, because you have a single mom or a single dad raising 2 or 3 kids. And it just becomes very difficult. It becomes very difficult. Maybe we have 2 parents that are not always home, and the nanny is not really policing them. And now they're giving tablets to shut them up, and they're viewing and listening and, you know, soaking all this bad information and content they probably shouldn't be listening to and viewing, for no less. So it's just like a hard task for a parent in today's world to really kind of navigate through. Yeah. And I'm not saying that to scare parents. And you as a parent, you have a voice, so I'm going to allow you to speak on that.
I somewhat agree and disagree. Only because when I was growing up, I used to look at porn. Right. Like, I would watch.
And if you don't mind me asking, when you were growing up, did you have an absentee parent?
No, I had both my father and my mother
under the same roof.
Yes, and I had my grandfather and my grandmother. We were all under the same roof. Right. So I had.
You had the nuclear family.
Yeah, I had that family. I had that foundation. Yeah. But I grew up with respect. I think what the teacher was saying was that, you know, the kids come and, you know, they don't respect her, or they don't respect authority. And then when she go and she mentioned it to the parent is like, instead of, you know, defending the teacher and standing up for what's right, she goes and say, hey, you know, maybe my child didn't want to do this, or she didn't want to do that, or whatever. Right. You know, that's where the line falls, where you're not actually being a parent, you're being defensive. Like, when I was growing up, like I said, I used to do all types of stuff.
Us too. I wasn't a saint.
I was very respectful to
I had a
adults.
halo over my head.
Yeah, that's right. You didn't watch porn. You didn't watch bad movies, rated R movies at age 7.
I wasn't listening to Bone Crusher.
When I'm outside of the club. Oh my gosh.
But it just goes to show. I mean, it doesn't matter, like, you know, it doesn't matter what you're watching, or, well, it does.
It does.
But
to an extent, yeah.
To an extent. But at the same time, you also have to have that parent that's gonna, actually set rules in the household. So when you go out, you know how to act.
You mean a parent parenting in 2023? Oh my gosh, what a concept.
And I feel like, most parents aren't really parents. They want to be their kids' friends and they want
Best
to,
friends and their homies.
Yeah.
And they want to do the TikTok dances with them.
I agree.
So you think that, I feel like in today's world, right? I think that the kids are definitely the reflection of the parents.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have lousy kids and messy kids in all aspects of life, I think it's a reflection of the parent. Like, how are you parenting or the lack thereof?
Yeah. You got to represent your household.
Right.
And my brother...
And with me, and in our culture that we share, because we're both Latinos here, the dad needs to lead that.
Yeah. My brother monitors...
And in the Christian belief, we're all Christian here. We're all Team Jesus here, right? We're all Team Jesus. Mm-hmm. So in the Christian Judeo belief, right? Christian Judeo belief, the men are the leaders. They are to set the tone as far as morality, as far as how the house is ran, and the authority that is put in the household, mm-hmm. right? So we have a big responsibility to lead young boys and girls, because I believe that young girls need that male authority early on for them to even have a chance to have a successful life.
They have that saying, what is it? Fathers keep girls off stripper poles and sons out of jail.
Right. No, that's true. And I actually read that on Facebook or somewhere on Instagram. Like fathers, like a solid dad would keep the daughter off a stripper pole and the son out of jail. Now, there are outliers out there where there's going to be rebels out there. And even though, like Sam's perfect example of that, she grew up in a nuclear family where both mom and dad were under the same roof, but she got into some stuff. I got into some stuff too. I'm not, shy about sharing, because I've shared it on the show before. I actually had a whole pornography, porn addiction episode on here. And I talked about pornography and how it can really distort a young child's mind, and how it can really eradicate their neurological sense as far as what they see and what they are exposed at a very young age. How can that affect them? Yada yada yada.
Yeah.
Go back to the channel and look for that episode. I think it's like episode 32 or something like that. But I'm not a stranger to what porn addiction was. I was full blown addicted to porn. Like, I would watch porn like when I was like in school and not doing nothing and being a lazy bum. I would watch porn like 3, 4, 5 times a day. Like, it was crazy. Like, it was just insane. I was obviously younger, young adolescent, late teens, older teenager. Obviously, the hormones are raging. Obviously, you're curious. Obviously, you want to, dive into that sexual curiosity that we experience at that high school / collegiate experience, and you want to experience these things. But it really does something to you, not only neurologically, but also spiritually. And for a kid to be exposed to these music videos that are essentially soft porn, because they're showing girls in fishnets twerking and cheeks clapping and things in the air. I'm just like, what the, like, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's cringeworthy, yes, but like, I think what you said is very valid. Like, I understand the way that you push back, because an artist is going to be an artist and that's what they're going to do. And we can't 100% shelter our kids and protect our kids and we would like to put our 11-year-old and our 14-year-old in a bubble to protect them from all these things, to avoid any circumstantial ramifications of certain actions that they may partake in those things, like getting pregnant early, or your son getting a girl pregnant at a very early stage of their lives. That is a thing, and it essentially becomes babies having babies. So I guess where we draw the line is we have to do a better job at being present in the household.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Your kids are a reflection of who you are.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure.
Personally, my brother, he monitors because he works from home.
Yeah.
So he monitors and he sets time limits on everything. I think that's awesome. Yeah. I don't think that I would do it to the extent that he does, but he's probably doing it better than most.
Right. Yeah,
I probably should do it to the extent that.
And I do believe in some type of disciplinary action. Like you can't just time out the crap out of your kid and expect your kid to have some type of behavioral modification. They're gonna see right through that, and they're gonna know what they can and cannot get away with. I do believe in spanking. I'm old school. That's how I grew up, and you know, if it wasn't for my dad being present and disciplining me the way that he did, I wouldn't be the man that I am today. You know what I mean? I don't believe in beating the lights out of your kids. That's abuse, obviously. But hey, like, as your kids get older, you can take things away as well. I mean, we're right in the Christmas season. We're just, 2 weeks away now, Tyler? From Christmas?
Too soon.
It's Tyler's favorite holiday of the year.
Can you confirm? It does.
You can't have Christmas without Christ, right? Is that your motto?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should be.
Yeah. Right? It was a joke, but
Christmas is for the presents.
Christmas is definitely well in America. Christmas has turned into a commercialized thing where it's like, oh, it's presents. But old schoolers and conservatives that have a belief in God, they wanna highlight that hey, it's Jesus made a way for us, and to believe it or not, I've actually, who was on the news early? There was some
that doesn't narrow it down,
where they believe in Jesus but they don't believe in the resurrection. I think that was T.I, right?
I can't remember.
Where his son, I could pull it up. T.I seems to be in the news all the time about his stuff that he says. He says some pretty crazy thing.
I'm sorry. Who cares what T.I has to say?
Let's see. Hold on.
Like, honestly, it's a time of crisis. Like, oh my God, let me get a hold of T.I so I can get sense of all of this.
But I think it's hilarious.
T.I, where are you? Tell me what you have to say.
So as a content creator, right? Because I like to look at other people's content and hear what their take on certain things. And because I'm so attached to my system belief, which is Christianity, I'm a Jesus believer. I am pretty adamant about that. I go to a church. I try not to miss church on Sundays. That's my thing. And when I hear certain people that have mega platforms and goes, yeah, I believe in Jesus, but the whole resurrection thing, and I'm like, bro, you're responsible enough to at least give some type of context, because the young kids do listen to you. As much as we don't want to give that responsibility to these artists like a T.I and Chris Brown, and the list goes on and on. I think that we should have some type of conversation where it's like, okay, T.I might have said that, but this is what we believe in the house. You know what I'm saying? Because we can't have Hollywood raise our kids. We can't have YouTube raise our kids. We can't have TikTok raise our kids, because then what are we doing?
Yeah. Here's another thing though. I honestly, I just made the joke about whole T.I and everything, but it's not even just that. I think when you have such a high, you have such a big platform in general, you're an A-list celebrity or star or whatever. People listen to you because you have a bunch of followers.
Yeah.
A lot of the times I think that you don't realize what you're putting out there, you're just talking you.
Yeah.
And that might be true. He might not believe in the resurrection or whatever, but and you don't know really to what extent that is. Like you said, give us some context.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I don't know.
For the sake of content, I'm just going to put this on real quick.
In some cases, you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't.
What, are we not enough content for you, Javi?
Because I think this
Are you not entertained?
I just feel like this is so fascinating. Someone would actually say this. And maybe that's just the lack of knowledge, the lack of reading the Bible. I mean,
technically, the Jews kind of believe
it's a lot of hocus pocus. There's a lot of, smoke and mirrors. I'm just saying, ways to recover. He
This
got
is
his
T.I.
strength back in them 3, and I heard I believe you. Ooh. I don't give
All right, here we
a
go.
lot of trouble for this, but the resurrection. Ooh. I don't know, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, look, man. Listen. Listen, man, I believe in Jesus. I believe Jesus was a great man. I believe he's the greatest human being. And Jesus, after they took him down from being, and they took him into the cave, and I heard Mary Magdalene was going back and forth in there. You know what I'm saying? Check it out. What if it took him 3 days to recover?
He shut it off.
And he got his strength back in them 3 days.
He got his strength back.
And he walked back out.
And he walked back
Oh,
out.
man, he came back from the dead. I'm just saying, man. It's just, I don't know, man.
Oh,
The
wow.
Immaculate Conception. It's a lot of hocus pocus. There's a lot of, smoke and mirrors.
All right, we're going to stop it because Tyler's ready. Pastor Tyler's ready to get out of his clothing right now and turning to the Incredible Hulk.
I'm losing my brain cells.
But that's what I'm talking about. Like it's definitely cringe to hear people say, "Oh yeah, I believe in Jesus. He was a great man. He was a great prophet." But the whole resurrection thing,
You know what? It's not what you say, it's how you say.
Yeah.
Everyone is entitled to their own opinion,
Right.
but you have to be mindful of how you say things.
Right.
If he, believe in Jesus Christ, but he doesn't believe in everything else,
Right.
then okay, I get it.
Right.
Everyone isn't going to have that same faith, but you have to be mindful, especially having a platform like that, of exactly what you say. It's not, oh God, it's not. What you say is how you're putting it out there.
Yeah.
And that kind of...
and I'm not asking people to
awful.
flood T.I.'s DMs right now and be like, "Tell T.I. to read the Gospel of John.
Oh, that's not-
Tell T.I. to read the Gospel of John." But I'm sorry, you were going to
Is
say something.
T.I. Christian?
I think his
Does he
parents
identify?
or his or Big Mama in the house believe in Jesus. But here's what I know about Jesus. Jesus doesn't have grandchildren. I'm gonna say that one more time in case y'all missed it. Jesus doesn't have grandchildren. That means like if you don't identify as Jesus being the resurrected King and the Lord over your life, then you are not his child. And it's okay, because I once didn't believe. I once was running around, thugging it out, raw dogging it out there spiritually, of course. And I was just, not a believer. I just decided not to be a theist. I was just like, you know what? The whole God thing and the whole Satan thing, it's really not for me. I'm just going to, do my thing, do the best that I can do to the best of my ability, get my money and keep it pushing. Obviously, that only takes you yet so far until you start really like not allowing life, but life gets pretty treacherous. Life be lifing, as the kids say, that life be lifing. So like when you don't have a foundational belief in a higher power bigger than you, you're gonna fold sooner or later.
Mm-hmm.
But
All right.
But I interrupted you, so go ahead.
Let's get done with T.I. Let's get into the podcast. I'm gonna take over from here.
but that being said, it's what we could segue in relational, right? So Jesus came and he came not to be served but to serve, right? And he came to be relational with his people. And we are to do the same thing too. So in relationships, since we're going to segue to some of the topics, relationships are very important. I feel like having relationships with one another, meaningful relationships, purpose-filled relationships are very important, especially as a young adult to a full-grown adult that we are today. I think that living a life in isolation, you're not going to thrive. You're just going to be a weirdo, introvert, not knowing anything or not having any sense to having a decent conversation, and people are going to look at you like a mute. And that's not the way you should be leading a life. I think having a good, solid core circle of friends is very, very important. I think the voices that you hear are very important because it'll take you to the places and spaces that you're ultimately going to go. So if you hear the right voices, it'll propel you to where you need to be as far as meeting certain goals. I always take it back to fitness because I'm into the fitness stuff. I like going to the gym. I go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week.
A day?
Yeah, right. A day. That'd be crazy. But like, even with fitness, right? If I don't surround myself with the right people and the right voices in my head to encourage me to not go to the gym. Like sometimes I feel not going to the gym. Sometimes I feel like not having a leg day. But if I have the right circle of friends with the right voices that are going to encourage me and keep me accountable, I'm not going to miss a leg day. I'm not going to miss a gym day. I'm going to go to the gym 4-5 times a week and get to my goals. I think the fitness aspect of life with life in general do kind of bleed into one another. I think if you approach the way people approach their fitness goals to their life goals, you will be successful depending on who you have in your circle, right?
I agree. I definitely agree. I feel like, you know, different spirits and, you know, different auras, what you have around you, it depends on, you know, your person or who you are as a person. A lot of times we like to say that, you know, your mood shouldn't change based off of your surroundings, but it does. It's spiritual. Like, you know, you can be sitting by me and you're having a bad day. I'm going to feed off of your energy. So whatever energy that you're putting out there and the energy that you're receiving, like, it intertwines with one another. So,
Tom, how are we with the cam? Just timestamp.
Oh my gosh, it's over.
But yeah, no, that's very true. Because if you're around bums, you're ultimately going to be a bum. Would you agree?
Yeah, basically. I mean, that's just the friendship rule. I think everybody knows that.
Right.
The friendship rule. The majority of your friends are heading in one direction. You're going to start heading in that direction. It's far easier for the 60% to pull the 40% this way than the 40% to pull the 60% the other way.
To a net positive rather than a net negative.
Exactly.
Right.
It's much easier.
And sometimes you can be kind of headstrong, but, you know, even when you do have those kind of people around you, at some point you're going to be, like, trained with their energy to the point where it's like, I don't want to do this or I don't want to do that.
Right.
Because of who you keep in your company.
Right.
So.
Now, I hear sometimes when I get DMs from, like, listeners and they have their input on certain things that Tyler and I talk about, or me and Gabe talk about, or me and Danny talk about, or whomever I have on the show, they always push back on, like, oh, well, you don't understand. I can't trust. I have trust issues because I've been burnt. I've been betrayed. I've been lied to. I've been cheated on. And I'm looking at them like, you don't think that I've been burned? You don't think that I've been betrayed? I've had people steal from me. I've had people borrow money from me and never pay me back. I had people cheat on me. I had people that just do these outlandish things that breaks trust, right? So we can't allow that isolated experience dictate how we choose to lead a life with being intentional with friends.
I think it's perspective. Honestly, like, there's gonna be people that come into your life and do some horrible things. Right. But at the end of the day, ultimately, the way that I see it, okay, you lend somebody some money and then, you know, they don't pay it back or something. Okay, great. They dodge you forever. Great. So what did it cost you?
Right.
What, $20, $200 to get rid of that person for the rest of your life? Sounds like a good deal to me.
Right. Well, so unfortunately, it wasn't my case with me. It was like a couple $1,000s, but it whatever. Yeah. I mean, point is like, I've been lied to. I've been cheated on. I've back in the day, I'm talking like 10, 12 years ago, I've actually had somebody try to scoop my girlfriend at the time, and literally behind my back try to holler at my girl on MySpace. Remember MySpace?
MySpace?
Who remembers the MySpace days?
MySpace is how we all learned, like, code. Let's be real.
Yeah, right?
It was all HTML.
That's how you know, bro. You were on my top 5. That's how you know.
It started so much drama if you went from, like, 2 to 3.
And then they came up with the code to make top 10 because it's like, oh, the 6th friend is giving you.
Was very controversial.
Oh my God.
So you're not in my top 5 anymore, bro.
Oh my God.
You had a theme music on background.
Yeah,
it was a mess.
It was, but it was fun times.
You know, like, the more complicated the profile, the more toxic she was.
What?
So the longer it took to load her profile, you're like,
oh, she's toxic.
No.
That was her toxic trait.
That's how you knew she was toxic and high maintenance.
But I don't. And I know that there's more guys in here than gals, but I don't know if I can't speak for.
I'm sorry. Are you assuming my gender?
No, I'm kidding. Oh, we're gonna go there today.
I'm sorry.
I mean, if you want to go there, we can go.
You said we're gonna get spicy, so we get spicy.
But
that was a good. I saw this feminist go up to this guy that had I don't know what shirt he had on, some shirt with pink letters and everything, and she's like,
was it Women for Trump or something like that?
Maybe something like that.
Yeah.
She's like, I find it offensive that a man would say this, would stand out here and do this. He's like, I'm sorry, are you assuming my gender?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And also she goes,
I guess I am. I was like, I'm sorry. Yeah, well, you need to check your white female privilege. I was laughing so hard. That was a good one.
I saw a video of a guy, actually some police officers are arresting a lady. And so the normal thing is like you have to check to make sure there's no weapons, right? And someone's standing there with a cell phone, and it's like, oh, this police harassment! Like you gotta get a female officer. And all of a sudden, one of the guys goes, "Identify as a female."
Oh my god!
Identify as a
Like,
female.
"You a-hole."
I identify as a female, and I'm gonna be your officer tonight.
Oh my god! That's
so-
why you have to mind your own business.
For real, like there's some crazy folk out there. I mean, we don't even need a Discovery Channel to see the wildlife out here because wow, there's some savages out there.
But go ahead. There's more males in here than females.
Yeah, so I can't speak for every guy in the room, but I don't know if you've been in this situation. I'm not sure if you have, but I've had a quote unquote homie. You know, because everybody got a homie, everybody got a homeboy, their ride or die, their dog, whatever, their ace, whatever you want to call them. But I had a homie behind my back try to holler at my girl. Tyler, I don't know if you could speak to that. Danny, I don't know if you.
Give me this mic real quick. Yes, actually, it did happen to me in high school. It was really funny. He was my best friend too.
Yeah.
And it was like I broke up with her, and he but he was like talking to her before then. It was this whole thing.
Bro.
The athletic director got involved because we were both basketball players.
The director?
The athletic director.
Athletic director got involved.
And he said something. He's like, "So is this gonna be a problem?" I'm like, "Have fun, bro."
That's how you know he loved her. That's how you know he really loved her.
So Danny, you want to speak to that? Am I the only one that experienced that kind of stuff? Like
no.
Because I had what do you do to a so-called homie? And then because I ended up catching him. Thank God for MySpace, right? But I ended up catching him in a way that I caught him through MySpace and people texting me and confirming and verifying and all this other stuff. I don't want to really get into much details, but ultimately I found out that my homeboy was hollering at my girl, and it's not like she was my ex. I was still like official with her. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what do you do to that homie that...
What can you
Like in real time, how would you diffuse that situation if it was happening in real time?
Oh my god!
Because you're going to Old Testament.
This is the thing. This is the thing.
Aside from the easy answer, I want to kill him and rip his limbs off. But go ahead.
Yeah, the whole fighting and everything.
Yeah.
Honestly, like if there's a homeboy hollering at a friend's girl or a friend's wife or a friend's whatever. Potential, honestly, like those are the guys that really like they can't get it for themselves, so they had to wait for a girl to come around for them to be comfortable enough for them to I honestly don't understand why females pay attention to those types of guys. Plus at the end of the day, does the female not think about like, hey, you know, you could be classified in a bad light after that as like the homie hopper?
So what did your girlfriend at the time do? Yeah,
what'd she do?
Oh, I thought you were talking about your situation.
No, I didn't have.
Yeah, it didn't happen to you?
Oh, I mean,
I'm the only one?
No. It did happen to me. Shorty, she was kind of entertaining it. I was like, all right.
While she was with you, though?
Yeah. I was like, all right, bye. I didn't. Yeah. I honestly never said anything else to her.
But what about the dude?
It was over.
What about the dude, though?
Oh, I cut that off too.
Sometimes you just gotta
listen. You gotta cut friends out. Listen, it's the same exact thing with the dollar amount and the friend that borrowed it. Okay, great. I'm happy. First off, thank you, so-called friend. Yeah. Because you made me realize that this girl isn't worth anything because there's no loyalty there. And thank you, girl, because you made me realize that this friend isn't worth it. You guys deserve each other. Keep it moving. Listen, if you're a guy that has a mindset of abundance, it doesn't matter. I tend to even out anyways. I'll find somebody new. Yeah. And look at me.
And look at
got
you.
Wifey.
Hey. You asked me a question.
Hi, babe. I love you.
Hey, Ash.
I mean,
Right?
at that point, you, like you said, or whatever, they just open your eyes to realize, okay, you're not my friend, and you as my girlfriend or whoever, you're not for me either.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to be peaceful with how you move,
Right.
because you're gonna show a side of you for what? You're gonna show that angry side of you just so that they can dwell on and, oh, I had this person pissed at me and this and that or whatever. No, let you go. We're good, but now I got to move on, and that's just
Yeah.
easier
Well,
to-
Oh, and I don't know about everybody else, but I always like to put a little stamp on it. I have a strict no friends rule after that. We can't be friends at all.
Yeah.
No conversation, no nothing.
with the dude, with your home.
Either one. What do you mean? One
Both
or
of
the
them.
other? Both.
Both.
Done.
But like I have more of a kinship with, I guess because of the way I move with the guys that I allow in my life. Like, if you're gonna cross that line, I'm gonna address you first. Like, the shorty can go, you know what I'm saying? But I gotta address you, and we're either gonna go for 10 toes deep and go blow for blow, or we're gonna have a conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay, so let me put a scenario. If that happened to you, right, and one of our close friends in our
Right.
circle, started hollering at your girl, and then nothing came from it and all that. Your girl came up and told you about it, and then you confront no name friend.
Yeah.
And no name friend, apologizes. Hey man, I'm sorry, in a moment of weakness, this and that. Like, how would you take it from there? You guys still be friends after that?
no, I think that
It's over, bro.
Yeah, it's pretty much over.
You
but
can't trust that person.
however,
Yeah, it's
because
over.
I think that trust, once you break that trust amongst men, right? Like, men of honor, right? Like, and if I'm gonna speak to the 23-year-old version of Javi, because I was 23 at the time, I was not running with the Lord. I was not what we call saved. I was very out there, and I didn't handle it like a mature, Javi that I am today, right?
Yeah.
So I handled it the 23-year-old version of myself, which was, I'm going to F you up, meet me outside kind of thing,
Yeah.
and we're going to have problems, and if you got goons, I got goons
But
kind of thing.
there's a cycle that goes through that.
Right.
There's the anger,
Right.
then there's like the hurt
Right.
and the
So
depression. It's a mix of feelings.
Yeah, so-
best thing to do is just to stay stoic.
Right.
Don't act.
Right.
Your whole
Well, it's easy to
action-
say that now as a
I was
39-year-old.
about to
You know what I'm
say,
saying? As a
Yeah,
23-year-old, as a, like,
Don't
I look
think
back.
like that.
I look back at what I was doing when I was 21. Oh, I'm illegal to drink now. I don't have to use a fake ID anymore, kind of thing. And then 22, and then that 21, 22, 23 era of my life, I was doing some pretty debaucherous stuff.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm not saying it to like glorify it. Like I'm friends with a lot of youth pastors. Tyler's a pastor, and it's tough, ministering to young adults. It's tough ministering to teenagers and middle schoolers. Next month I'm going to be giving a position to help volunteer to pour into these middle school kids in my church, and that's a task in itself.
Shout out to Anchor Youth.
Yes,
Woo!
Anchor Youth. So like, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's easy to look back and say, wow, the 23-year-old version of me did this. Man, I could have handled it this way, that way, and the third. But like, because you have insight now and experience, and you're battle tested now
Yeah.
as a 38, 39, 40-year-old, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, if it would have happened to me as a 39-year-old, it would have gone different. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been like, yo, you got goons, I got goons, and yada, yada, yada. It would have been more of, you and I need to have a conversation, and it could go, blow for blow if you want to go there, but let's have a conversation. I'd like to talk to you as a man, and I need you to face me and tell me where everything, the moment that things went left. And the derailment of that.
Mine wasn't all clean like I don't want to lead on and give a misrepresentation of everything. We had some words, and then me and her had some words and everything, and it was a whole S show. You know what I mean? It was
You can
a
say
whole-
shit, yo.
Yeah, well,
it's kingdom talks, bro. I'm not that. I'm
I'm trying to. I'm
not that Christian.
I'm putting stipulations on me.
Definitely no F bombs. I'm not trying to F bomb.
Yeah, but basically, like it was a whole crazy show and everything. It wasn't nice and clean, but at the end of the day, you know, this is the whole idea, the realization of everything on the back end.
Right.
It's just easier and cleaner to go through that. Now, here's the way that ultimately. Nah, I'll keep that one to myself.
You're gonna tuck that one in? Well, since you're the only girl, the only lady in the house. Now, on the other side of that, right? Let's flip the roles a little bit. Has a guy hollered at you while you were dating said guy's friend?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And it has happened multiple times.
Okay.
And I've told my partner who I was with at that
At the
moment,
time, yeah.
you know, this is what's going on. This is what happened. Now, when I was younger and dating younger-minded guys, you know, of course, the situation, it gets blown out of proportion. There's no talking. It's straight,
Fist fights.
Yeah. But now I think that, you know, dealing with my partner at the moment, if something happens like that, we're mature adults. So we know how to handle situations like that. And like for even me, like I feel like now I'm more at so much peace with myself that I don't have the time or I don't have the patience to actually, you know, go back and forth with you and why did you do this? Why did you do that? Or fighting or arguing. I just don't have it in me. If it depends on the situation, the friendship. If it's worth holding on to and we can have that conversation and, you know, people make mistakes. But at the same time, like that kind of mistake, that's my partner, my husband, or whoever, it shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I can come back from that. But I've had guys that tried to talk to me while I was in a relationship
with their friend.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
A lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that's like a thing now. And I think it's because like the hookup culture that we live in, and stuff like that. I think the hookup culture has a lot to do with that. And I think the like byproduct of that is like people, especially females, they lose themselves and they don't know how to value themselves or find worth in themselves at some point.
I want to tell you too, like especially nowadays, women are more so, not all women, but most or some women, they are all about self. Meaning that, okay, what can you provide for me? What can you give to me? Do you have this and that? What my boyfriend or my husband isn't providing for me? If so, then okay, let me open up the door. You know, that's a simple-minded woman.
Right,
you know, someone who is looking more for materialistic things than, you know, more so love and affection or whatever. So I think when a woman does find attention in someone like that is because not only that she has low self-esteem, it's just you're looking for something that your partner isn't offering at that moment. And instead of just breaking it off with your partner because you're not happy in that relationship and moving on, you want to move on to the boy or the friend instead of just being honest with yourself and saying that you're not happy in the relationship
that you're currently in. Right. And I see that all the time because I hear about it all the time. And it's like, it's the hookup culture. Like it's and to me, I think that it's deeper. It's more of a deeper issue. Like I think it starts when they're little girls and maybe they were abused, verbally abused, sexually abused, a absentee father, no father figure will make them lead a life of finding a father-like figure, daddy issues as they call it, you know what I mean? And I like always try to speak life into that because like to the young woman that's listening and still trying to find themselves, like you have to find yourself first before you allow people in your life, before you allow another guy to even touch you. You know, you gotta allow yourself to give yourself some time to heal from the traumatic things that you experienced early on. You know what I mean? Because they're just gonna be looking for a love that's not obtainable, and they're gonna start homie hopping, like you said earlier, because sometimes girls start homie hopping. They hop on one homie, and then it doesn't work with them, and she sees that that homie got another cute homie, and she'll hop on that homie, and then it becomes like a vicious cycle for these females. And I feel like it's because they lack self-awareness, and they just don't have value. They don't know their worth. They don't know their value. Because I know for a fact when a woman comes to a realization and has that epiphany moment that they know their worth and they know that they should be valued, they're not gonna, roll around with that F-boy anymore. You know what I'm saying? That's when they know their worth. They know they should be valued, that they should be respected, and they should be honored. And they're not gonna, fall in that trap where they're messing around with an F-boy.
And to be honest, when we're getting into that aspect right now, like I'm here to play the devil's advocate. So I'll play the devil's advocate here.
It wouldn't be a podcast if you weren't, bro.
So on this end, I know when it comes to men looking for women nowadays, like a lot of men, and I mean a lot of men, and it is put out there in the media. I know if you're a man and you have YouTube, you have Instagram, it's always all over the feed because it goes to, it's an algorithm. So it's kind of geared towards you and everything. A lot of men, they completely see it. Okay, this girl has been with this F-boy, that F-boy, this other F-boy, like you're ruined at that point. So what essentially the woman, she's like, oh yeah, now you know your value. She's coming to realization where she's like, oh, now I know my value. But in the eyes of the men, she just lost her value because she's giving it away here, giving it away there, giving it away here.
But why can't she have a clean slate? I mean, we all have a past. So why is it that, if a woman have hopped from homie to homie, that now she knows her worth and she's went through her the time of her life where she been with other men or homie hopped or whatever you like to call it, and now she's understanding of herself. Why doesn't she deserve that chance, or why doesn't she deserve to be looked at differently?
That ultimately, I think that just depends. It depends on the situation. It's more of a case by case. Because you can't, whenever you say all in anything, it's already a lie. Because if you say all, you hear this all the time, like all men ain't ish or all women ain't ish. You know what I mean? All of that's a lie. There's variations in everything, but it all depends. Ultimately, I'm coming from the aspect of, and I saw this in real time happening, within a couple of months, you see it happening. It's already done. A lot of you guys might know, maybe you guys don't know, but I lived in Gainesville for a couple of years. And that is
a huge party town.
It's not only a huge party town, it's literally a town full of students. It's a 70% ratio. Everybody that's there is all a student.
Yeah, it's crazy up there.
So it's all college town. Over there, you can see it in real time. Like, bam, fresh new people come in every semester. Fresh new people leave every semester. So you would see, new girls come in, and then they'll be with this guy, bam, and be with the other guy. And then, by the time that one guy wants to take her seriously and everything, then he checks the how do they say it? The HOFAX.
Or the body count. The body
count thing. And honestly, yeah, like some people say, hey, it shouldn't matter, but to some men, yeah, it does matter. And it's also a spiritual thing. Yeah. Because we're all Christian people, right? You're sharing your spirit with that person when you're being intimate with them, and they're sharing your spirit with you. Yeah. And ultimately, that messes you up as a man, and it messes you up as a female, both in both aspects. But ultimately, if I'm coming up from it from a male aspect, I think we're all men. Yeah. Most men don't want to be with a girl that's been, how they say, ran through. Right. Or they would prefer to be like in the ignorance. Like, I don't want to know your past. Right. Or, the whole I at least don't want to know the guys that you had a past with. Right. And up there, it's a small town, but it's a lot of students.
Yeah.
So what happens to the men value who have slept with that woman who slept with multiple men? Like, what happens to those men? Like, do they get a pass? I mean, they still dealt with a woman who actually, went out there and dealt with multiple men. So what's going to happen to them?
Yeah. So unfortunately, it is a double standard.
Mm.
That's just the simple fact of it.
But it's a double standard.
I'm sorry?
It's cricket. It's not fair because there are men who sleep with multiple women, but they get a pass for it because they're a man. When it's a woman, she's looked at as a whore, or she's looked at as less because she slept with multiple people.
Right.
But when it's a man, it's like it's different levels to it. He's a man. He slept with multiple women. No, he's okay. He get a pass for it. But she's a woman, and it's like, no, I'm gonna stay away from her because her value and she doesn't know her worth. Does that man know his worth as well?
Yeah. So I'll give it to you from my perspective. From my perspective, as I mentioned before, it is a double standard, and basically the way that I see it is that. Hold on, let me collect my thoughts. Give me a second.
I'm gonna pick up where.
Hold on. What? Repeat what you just said.
So if it's a male and he have multiple sexual partners and he slept with many women, is his value less?
Oh, I caught it.
Okay.
I caught it. So unfortunately, when going back to the double standard, we just live in a day and age where a man isn't punished on that aspect. And I can understand there's a lot of podcasts and a lot of things that you see because it's geared towards men. So we see this all the time. At least, a lot of young men see this all the time where, you'll hear somebody talk about it and they'll explain it and you're like, man, that makes a lot of sense to me. Because the thing is this, we're not judged upon the same things. Men want different things than women want. We got to be vigilant of that because if you're a young man and you're a young man that's single, you got to know what this woman wants in order for you to sell yourself to this woman if that's what you want. And if you're a woman and you're young and you're single, you got to know what the men want in order for you to sell yourself to that man that you want, right? Because you want that person to desire you and that person wants to desire the other person back, right? That's the only way it works, right? You desire your girl,
right?
She desires you.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Same thing with you and your partner, me and my girl, pastor over here. And his wife. Sorry.
So, but essentially, but
ultimately, this is the thing: is that we're just judged on a different standard, right? So this is the thing: women, you guys get attention up front. Like, for example, let's say that you're not you, I'm not me, right? This is just an example put out there. You tell me that, or you tell Javi that you slept with 365 guys out of this 365 year. Hold on. Out of these 365 days that passed this last year. And then I tell him that I slept with, 100. I'm sure that to somebody that's out of the perspective, they'll be like, wow, it's impressive for the guy to do it. It's not impressive for the girl to do it because really, it could have been 1,000 for you because how easy is it for you to get sex? Right? So ultimately, if you think about it, that aspect, now not only are you a hoe, but you're a lazy hoe because it could have been 1,000.
Yeah.
But the guy ultimately, think about what men have to do. We have to build something out of nothing. We have to approach. We have to come with the right amount of confidence. We got to come around with the right amount of swag. It can't be too hard. Harsh. It got to be confidence.
You can't be boring.
Everything. We got to be full-blown entertainers on the front end in order for you to give us a shot at a potential.
Yeah.
I don't know because
it's not fair. I agree. It's not fair.
I mean, I get it. As women, we attract not only men but other women too. So we are looked at as, I want that woman or whatever, and it's kind of a little bit complex for a male to get that same attention, but
Right.
at the same time, like, I don't care if you slept with 100 or 300, male or female, you're disgusting. It's not attractive to me. And I want to be judged based off of, you know, my personality, who I am as a person, and how I treat you. I don't want to be looked at as my past. I slept with 10 or 15 guys, or, you know, I was homie hopping. Okay, that was my past.
Right.
Not my past, but I'm saying that was my past. Now I'm a different woman. Now you're a different man. Like, we can't go based off of what we've done before.
Right.
If I'm presenting myself to you now, this is who I am, and this is what I want in, you know, a relationship. And, you know, I've had a past, but I've matured from my past. So now I'm a fully grown woman. You know, had mistakes in my life. I've corrected my mistakes.
Right.
And it's up to you to accept me as a man, but not to look at me as, oh, you were a whore before. So you don't get a pass from me.
So what do you consider a high value man?
Someone who is secure in himself.
Hopefully a God-fearing man, no?
I agree. I strongly agree. Someone who puts God first.
Right.
Amen.
Then after God, his woman, wife. Then after that, the children.
Right.
Then after that, it would be, you know, parents. Someone who holds the household down, not just doing things on his own, but who's able to work with their partner and say, okay, this is how we're going to make our home work. Not for everything to be solely based on the woman or solely based on the man, but we're going to be working together and we're going to figure out our life together. So, I mean, we learn different ways about ourselves every day. I'm not looking for someone to come to me fully whole, someone that, you know, is completely flawless. I understand that we all have flaws, but someone who's understanding and capable of understanding me as well. I don't know. I mean,
and the reason why I ask is because, like, these conversations to some extent are had in this podcast, like in different variations. We, not too long ago, a couple episodes ago, I had two young ladies here. Tyler had their phones and he was looking at their DMs. And in that context of conversations, we were saying, okay, what do you consider a high value man? I think I didn't use high value. I think I said, do you want a traditional man? They kind of lean towards modern women, and which is fine. I'm not judging them. And so my pushback was, okay, you want traditional things. You do like what a traditional man offers, but you want traditional things, but you're not being a traditional woman because you're subscribing to the modern feminist ideology. So it's kind of hypocritical, and I'm not calling anybody out or anything. I just like to have the conversation for the sake of having content and dialogue at the same time, because I like to hear different perspectives. And so, like, Tyler was very present when I said, oh, so body count doesn't matter, so you believe in a born-again virgin. Do you believe that you can be born again, like accepting Christ and like you're in a clean slate, the body count is 0 because you are this born-again virgin, you're going to save yourself until you find the right man and save yourself for marriage? Is that a reality that women that call themselves Christian and want a traditional God-fearing man, is that something that is a reality today?
I'm sorry, but I'm speaking for myself on this part. There's no such thing as you're going to have, go a born again version.
Right.
It's not possible.
But do you believe, and I'm sorry to interrupt you before I lose my thought, but do you truly wholeheartely believe that a woman who goes to church or tries to go to church and tries to have value in that, and try to live a life of putting God first, as you said, right? Because women, are called to do that too, not just men. And so, do you believe that a woman can heal, find themselves, work on themselves, and put themselves first, and discern what man they can allow in their life, and if they decide to court that man, that they can save themselves for marriage before they enter the bedroom, per se?
Yes.
Is that a reality today?
Yes. Well, No, it's not a reality.
See what I mean? Like, it sounds sexy in the front end, right? It sounds sexy talking about it, but it is a
Hold on. I want to hear what she says. Not a reality.
It's not. I don't feel like it's a reality to all. Nowadays, there are some women that, you know, they stick by exactly that. That's what they want. They're working towards it. You can't break it. There's no breaking it at all. This is what I want.
But what happens when it does? When it is broken? Though?
Temptation happens. I mean, it happens. I mean, you start over or you let that be, you know, your downfall.
Right.
I mean, we're human.
Is marriage not the goal anymore in this hookup culture? You think?
I don't think it is the goal anymore. I think that.
But isn't that a scary thought, though?
Yeah, it is. I think some people have their own reason as to getting married. Some people get married for business purposes. Some people get married because they want it to look good on paper. Some people want
at
to
a
get
wedlock.
married. Yeah, some people just want to show off marriage. There are
that
still
on the Instagram.
It happens.
Yeah.
But, you know, me, I believe in, you know, like we talked about before, the traditional thing where, you know, I get myself together first, then I come to this person, a whole person, marriage, kids, home, businesses. I believe in that. And there are other women out there that actually believe in that as well. Unfortunately, you know, there are some women and men who just want to just get married just for the sake of it. It looks good. So stuff like that, we can't put that as a whole, you know, as for everyone.
But as God-fearing people who believe in God, I just want to encourage people that no matter how society shifts, I think that should still be the non-negotiable, is marriage being the goal. Because I feel like in this hookup culture and how the society has been shifted, I think that staying in the dating phase has become the destination and not just the pit stop. Because I think being in a relationship and courting someone and getting to know someone in that courtship and dating and getting to know them as you're dating, they ultimately turn it into the final destination. And as a Christian, that's ass backwards.
But you know what? That also comes at that courting stage. So when you court someone, at the beginning, I feel like you should come in knowing exactly what you want.
Right.
You have certain different kind of courting.
Right.
Okay, we're gonna get together. This is what we want. We're gonna be sleeping together, hanging around, or whatever.
Right.
Our end goal is not gonna be marriage.
Right.
We're good. We have this understanding. That's their way. Then you have this courting where it's like, okay, well, do you want marriage? Do you want children? At that beginning stage, when we're courting, we should already know what it is that we want.
But isn't that the non-negotiable, though, as a Christian?
I mean, as a Christian, that's ideal.
Right.
It's ideal as a Christian to want that. But at the same time, like, we're living in a generation where, you know, people are different. We're not like how our mom and pops used to be back in the day where it's like marriage is the end goal.
So the Bible is invalid?
I'm not saying that the Bible is invalid.
No, I'm not saying that you're saying that. I'm saying this generation.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
people.
Excuse my language, but this generation is all sides of fucked up.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
Yeah.
They're different. Like they're not the same as we were before.
Right.
Like men aren't the same as they were before.
But
women aren't the same as they were before.
So I see it as like a disease, right? Not a physical disease, but a metaphorical disease, and the disease is sin, right? So if the disease is sin, and Jesus came and died for our sins, and he's the antidote. Jesus was the Word. In the beginning, there was the Word, and then he created everything else. And then he created Adam and Eve, and then they fell, right? And then they sinned, and they effed us up, right? And now we're living in this sin, in this fallen world. So if sin is the disease, Jesus is the antidote, and the Word is God, and we should revert to the Word. Why is it so difficult for us to go to the Word for knowledge, discernment, and strength? Why do we choose not to go to the Word as Christians and just leave it up to chance? Like, we'll see how we figure it out. If we get married, we get married. Because I believe that there's actual skill acquisition that needs to be had when you're talking about marriage. Because if you need to require skill to drive an automobile, something like a decision to getting involved with someone else's life and coming into a matrimony, you need some type of skill. You need to acquire some skill. So I believe in skill acquisition. That's why I believe that there should be premarital counseling. If you're really serious and really want to date a God-fearing individual, you got to get this in the front end before you even involve your family into this. Like before you even involve like your parents knowing who you're courting. You know, all these things need to be talked to. Like just like how you articulated, which I think it's amazing that you brought that up, because a lot of people don't think that way. A lot of people just leave it up to chance. Like, oh, I'm just gonna see this guy. He seems nice. You know, he has his stuff together. He has a job. He makes a good income. He's stable. He doesn't seem like he's a narcissist, and he doesn't seem like he has any toxic traits. So I'll give it a chance. But then you find out there's this underlining stuff where he does have some anger issues, and he does have a record, and he did cheat on XYZ because you found out that XYZ was involved with said man. So all these things, I think, do happen, and I think that it's our responsibility to meet that in the front end, because then if we don't, then you're knee deep in the relationship, and then now it's hard to, like, it's easy to say now as an outsider looking in, but it's when you're in it and you're involved in it, and now you invested emotion and like you have equity in that. You know what I'm saying? And now you feel like you're stuck. And it's like, oh, I don't know, because if I leave him, then I don't know what to do, and I'm gonna find myself single. And a lot of girls, a lot of ladies, a lot of older women, and even men have that fear of being alone at an age 45, 55, 65. That's a fear. That's a legitimate fear of dying alone, being alone, and not having a partner because maybe it's me. And then they start believing that lie too. So I don't know. I think that there's some value in the Bible, and I see Tyler thumping through Bible trying to find scripture.
Why am I not?
So I don't know if Tyler wants to jump in and just bless us with the scripture or something, or just your words of wisdom.
I knew you were gonna come back to me at some point.
Yeah, because we're gonna come back to simps too. I didn't forget about simps.
I already have Urban Dictionary pulled up. So anyway. We're professional podcasters over here.
Yeah, this is great.
So, I mean, I'm kind of listening to everybody, and I think what everyone has said has some validity tonight in some sort of way, for the most part. One of the things I can definitely say for certain is that the focus on actual marriage and becoming a husband and wife is gone.
Is what? Is what?
It's gone.
Oh, it's gone. It's gone.
Yeah.
I thought you said God. What?
No.
Is it becoming a God?
It's what? It's God? Well, in the Christian world, you can kind of make that argument too, but we're not going to talk about that tonight. Because I was actually talking to my friend Madison. She's married to one of my really good friends, and something that whenever her and I talk about relationships, she always says, marriage is a great way of sanctification. It's a great way of being sanctified. It's a great way of finding out who you really are, and also finding out what you really suck at. Like, and it's because it's very honest, because you're in it. Because even the Bible in Ephesians, it talks about how, like, even Paul's kind of referencing a couple of other things and all that. But when a man leaves his family to be with his
parents,
wife, he leaves his parents, leaves his family to be with his wife. What is he doing? He is leaving a past behind him, right? He's moving forward into something, right? So something I say all the time, like, there's a reason that your car windshield is bigger than your rear view mirror, right? Because you got to drive forward. You can't,
you
just
drive
go backwards in traffic, because you're going to
crash,
get crashed and get hurt, right? And so part of that is with marriage. Marriage is supposed to bring people closer to Christ. And that's one of the main things that people lose nowadays, is there's no bringing more towards Christ. It's less about sanctification, more about a status. And unfortunately, that's not what it's supposed to be. Most churches, words are hard tonight. Most church services are mostly about the sermon now, when really it's mostly supposed to be about communion.
Oh my gosh! You know who just said that too, and I just stumbled across it on TikTok. he said something similar to what you just
T.I?
What you just.
Oh,
It was on TikTok. The Bishop of all bishops, Bishop T.D. Jakes, said something. He echoed something like that.
Sorry, in case anyone didn't see, I absolutely
Yeah.
threw my head back and rolled my eyes.
Yeah.
Um,
But he said something
But here's
similar
the thing.
to.
But here's the thing. He's not wrong, because the whole thing is we're supposed to be brought to the table. Because I'm getting ready for a sermon, and part of what I'm going to be talking about is Jesus is the feast that Jesus has with the disciples, and his washing his feet, whatever. But there was such a high emphasis on the dinner. Why? Why was there always such an emphasis on food and dinner? It's because that was like when everyone came together. That's when everyone was family. And if in case you don't really know, for historical context, when they used to eat, they didn't sit at tables. They lounged basically
on the floor.
On the floor. But here's the thing: what people don't realize is part of it is sometimes they're relaxing, like basically in each other's laps. You're lounging on one side, and you're kind of using one hand to kind of dip food, whatever. You're using the other hand to keep up. Or, in some cases, depending upon, superior or whatever, like you're basically just leaning into someone's chest the entire time. Right?
Yeah.
Like even the Bible, I think it even says something. I think it was John, leaning into Jesus' chest. But all that being said, like there's a lack of focus on becoming more like Christ, and I think that's the heart of the heart of what is lost is that right there.
So you're saying that there's less godly men out there,
100%
and more simps.
More simps. More simps in the world.
As we segue to the next topic.
But kind of just to kind of wrap it up, like I really do. I mean, because I hear both sides of it, and I hear how women want certain men, how I hear how men want certain women. Like obviously, like what he was saying earlier, men and women want different things. However, deep down innately, there is a yearning for the exact same thing. Something that goes beyond just the short-term vision.
Right.
Most of the time, and here's the thing, most of the time, men see farther than women do. Yes, women can think about more kind of like actively, because it's even biology, right? Men kind of have like little boxes in their brain.
Yeah.
Right? When women kind of it's like a ball of yarn all tied together.
Yeah.
Right? And they both have their purpose, but the reason why the men are kind of more so the head or point the direction is because they see things more so farther into the future impacting than necessarily the here and now. And I'm not saying that's not
an absolute.
That's not an absolute.
Right.
I would never do that, because there's always exceptions. There's always spectrums.
Yeah.
Spectrums in different ways, but that's kind of where I would land at is basically just saying like, look, we need to bring it back to just really like focusing on sanctification, focusing on becoming more like Christ. Because even the Bible, it's like, okay, yeah, like women are supposed to submit to men, but men are also supposed to submit to their own wives. But that's the thing, is no one's looking for a husband, no one's looking for a wife. They're looking for a relationship. Yeah. And I think really in the end, it's what's the farther goal? Okay, you want to get married, that's great. There's a thing called marriage afterwards, right? Yeah. There's a thing called marriage afterwards, right? After all the pictures are done, after all the festivities of the wedding, after the honeymoon, welcome to the reality, sweetheart. Like, it's gonna get rough from here. Yeah. And that's why choosing who you're with is so important. Not just like, oh, hey, you're cute. Like, I just want to have a kid with you. And having a strong male. And it was too, speaking what T.D. Jake said, like you have to pick who you are willing to go to war with. That's what T.D. Jake said. We found our own warrior, bro.
Yeah. So like obviously he said that in a spiritual sense, and I love T.D. Jakes and his daughter Sarah. She's on fire right now, but T.D. Jakes, some of this doctrine is a little.
That's why I rolled my eyes.
Really because some of this stuff does get a little bit new agey, but some of this baseline stuff, like the mainline stuff, like is pretty.
His national borders were more so solid.
Yeah, they're pretty solid.
All his state borders. Yeah. The problem is he makes the state borders look like national borders.
Right.
And that's unfortunately kind of something that I think he. As much as he's a great orator, I think he kind of misses some. Yeah, some like pretty like okay, bro, like
mainline stuff. Yeah, it's some mainline stuff.
It's making it look.
But I don't want to like really dig on that. But like I do appreciate.
No, we're doing it right now. Let's do this. Change the podcast.
Yeah. But I do appreciate. I do appreciate like his output too, because like he does have a massive platform and a lot of people do listen to him. And when it comes to relational stuff, he's pretty spot on. He does believe in a nuclear family, obviously. He believes that the men should lead, obviously. That you shouldn't be. I don't know if he
had that based value.
Yeah.
Again, base.
Right.
There's a reason it's called base. There's a
solid
foundation. We can really look back in human history,
right,
and see that it works.
Right.
And again, nothing's perfect, but
yeah.
It's
So there's validity in that, because like I've been around pretty successful marriages, like Michael Griffin, for example, with Allison. They've been married multiple years now.
They're a great couple.
And they're a great couple. Sarah and JR, they've been married for a couple years now.
Love you guys.
And they're expecting a baby.
They
they had the baby already. So congratulations.
They even taken the kid to Disney.
So it's who you choose to have this covenantal bond, and who you, like TD Jake says, who are you going to war with? If you have that warrior that's willing to go to war with you and not against you, when times do get rough, when there's,
are they going to actually be your backup, or
right,
be in the back?
Right. Mm-hmm. So when life events do happen, when there's
that's a tweet.
Financial struggles, when there is like you can't have babies because there's fertility issues, all these things that life throws at you. Are they willing to fight with you, alongside with you? Are they willing to partner with you and, do these things that life usually, or not usually, but most of the time, if not all the time, throws at you? And if you're with the wrong partner, you're just going to end up clashing, arguing, being resentful, being bitter.
Takes time, and kind of what you're saying, kind of courting. And so transitioning to simping, as a sim, you don't have the same things as someone who's married.
And I think Danny might agree with me on this one. I think the lack of real, solid, godly warriors who are like all in on God and the biblical aspect of living and leading a life. I think the lack of anchored men and God, like Sam said, God-fearing men. I think the lack of that is like we're seeing this revolution of like simps, because there's a lack of these strong men, and now you have these simps. And Tyler pulled up the Urban Dictionary because Sam early on said that simping or simps has different meanings. So what a simp may mean to me may be different to Danny, may be different to Sam. So we're going to talk about that real quick.
So ultimately, before we even jump back, let me take a step back real quick. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, yes, we all believe in the nuclear family.
Right.
That is literally the goal. Mm-hmm. If you're a single person, you are looking to get married. If you're a single lady, you're a single male, you're looking to get married, you want to know what the best thing to do is? Surround yourself with married people. There's a saying, single people keep single people single. Mm-hmm. Okay? Like, it's just
specifically bitter single people will keep people bitter and single.
Yeah. The guys always want to go out to places where there's single ladies because the guy is single. The girls, they're always, wanting to go out where there's single males because they're single. They want to meet somebody. And that's not a place for somebody that wants to get married. You want to be married? Be around people that are married. They'll start teaching you habits and all these things. Me and Ashley, our first date, coffee date. Where do you want this to go? Marriage? Great. You two? Great. Done deal. We shook hands. That was it. It was a business deal. We signed the deed.
It's like, oh yes, we're an emergency family together. Yes.
We signed the deed. We made a house crest and everything.
Oh my God!
We forged a sword to protect the family.
No,
that's how it should be. Like
because
when you're meeting someone, you should up front. This is what I want. Like I want the marriage. I want whatever it is that you want at the beginning stage. Don't wait until like you're invested, like you said.
But then you have to work towards that in a very safe and legitimate way that adds value. And again, sanctification.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I had to interject.
I agree.
Yeah.
I definitely agree.
So do you believe that simps are ruining it for other guys?
I What is a simp? Can we like define that?
All right, so hold on.
We're gonna hear Danny's definition of simps.
You want to hear my definition?
Yeah, let's hear Danny's definition of simps, and then we'll compare it to the Urban Dictionary. Let's go.
Okay. Man, I wasn't
Disclaimer.
thinking about it because I was over here. I was excited to hear what Tyler's Urban Dictionary was.
Disclaimer, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go over Danny's definition of simps. Disclaimer.
Wait, before you go over that. So I've heard a while ago that Russell Wilson was a simp, and I've heard the reason why. I don't know. I've heard the reason why was because he was the ideal man who women wanted. So he was catering to his wife.
But how is it?
God fear. I don't know. That's why I'm
That's
like,
not
what
the
is a
reason
simp?
why.
I don't understand.
Simping doesn't count when you're married.
Oh God. Well, I mean, this is
If you're married, you're not.
That's
a
not
simp.
the reason
This
why
was-
he's known as a simp, though.
Like,
why. Okay, so
Danny, so go ahead and define it for us.
From what I've heard, Sierra has a past and a child. And if you're a man, no offense, I know your mom. God bless your children. If you're a man, the whole thing is you don't want to take care of another man's child because it comes with a lot of baggage. Unfortunately, I'll name a few. Okay, here's the thing: is like you're never gonna have custody over those children. Those children are eventually gonna grow old, and they could say, "Hey, you're not my dad," and you can't discipline them. And if you do discipline them, then you got to deal with the actual dad if he's still alive, or you just wait until he gets out of prison
Or present.
or present. Basically, like there's just a lot of negatives, and then on top of that, you know, if you're unlucky enough, you'll find that woman at an age where she can't give you a child. So it's just a bad deal, you know. And it kind of sucks to say that because I know it might hurt a lot of our sisters, but at the same time, like for men, you know, men are opening their eyes. It's a bad deal.
But there's also women who's taking on that baggage as well, and women who are being stepmothers to
Kids that are not
men.
theirs.
So I mean, I don't think it's a bad deal. I really don't think it's a bad deal for men or women.
I would say that people
But
with children should date people with children
but
because they're both on the same
But
level.
is that a simp though?
But well,
Bro, I think simp is just dead. We were trying to define it like 20 times.
hold on, we're gonna define.
No,
we're gonna define it right now. But the whole thing is yes and no. But we got to go back to the whole what Tyler brought up, which is what men and women want are two different things. Women primarily want a provider, and that woman is gonna eventually expect that man to also provide for that child. Now, men don't really look at women as providers. They don't care if you work. Well, but simps. Not the men. Not that. Yes, not the men that the women would want though. The men that women would want would be men that want to be provider. Like me, I want to be a provider. I swear to you, I want to be a provider. I told Ashley, I was like, hey, as soon as I'm able to, like, you can stay at home. As soon as I'm making enough to where that happens, like that's what it'll be, because I want to do that. It just makes you feel fulfilled as a man. That is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to provide for your kids and your family, and that's just what it is.
Biblical.
It's biblical also. But that's the thing. Women don't look at men in that aspect. So really, if a woman comes into the aspect to a baby daddy that has custody of his child, first off, you can see this guy can be a good father, which is really a plus for the woman. And second off, like, is that man really going to expect you as a woman to start providing and paying for stuff for the kid? Most of the time, no.
I've seen that firsthand where I've seen people get involved.
Now we're off to the actual definition from Tyler.
Let's
get this definition.
I felt like Sam was going to say something. Sam, do you have a...
Just really quickly, and then we're going to move on to the Urban Dictionary. Me personally, I am a stepmom, and I do provide for the child as well. I mean, I treat her like she's my own, so I can't say that I'm not going to look, or my significant other shouldn't look at me as doing for the child or whatnot, because I'm with you, so that means I'm with your children as well. As far as, you know, you being with me, you're with my kids as well. You can't just accept me and not accept my children. I mean, it's not fair. I can't be with you and I don't accept your children. It's just not real. It's not.
I'm talking about more of like a money-wise situation. That's how guys think about it. More of like a money-wise situation. Like, okay, now I need to provide for another child. You know what I mean? And a child that isn't mine. And depending on the guy's ego, it depends on who the father of the child was. Was the father of the child like this drug dealer, this hoodlum dude? Was he, you know, what are the names, like Pookie or a Chad or whatever? You know what I mean? I think that's just the main, you know, poster child of the whole scenario. But that's that. Let's get an actual definition. Come on, Tyler.
And this all happened because someone said that Russell Wilson was, because she picked it up on the internet. I actually heard about that too, like Russell Wilson being a simp because
Russell Wilson is a simp.
No, he's not.
I don't know if he is though.
Not.
All right, what's the
definition? Let's go with the definition.
Let's go with the
I love how we're
definition.
arguing about it. I've had it up for like half an hour now. I've locked my phone like 28 times, and I think I actually lost the play. So thanks, guys. Okay, so like people can add their own definitions. So like there's a bunch,
right?
But there's one that actually kind of sounds a little more
correct. Give us three. Give us the top three.
I'll give. Well, here, let me just give you I'll give you the very first option. Simp. Someone who does way too much for a person they like.
Okay.
Now,
I've heard of that one.
No, hold on. So keep that in your thought. The wording that's used.
Right.
Okay. Another one's a man who puts the hose before the bros.
I've heard of that too.
What?
I heard of that too.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
All right. This one actually looks like a real definition too. A word that everyone overuses without the correct definition. It means a guy that is overly desperate for women, especially if she's a bad person or has expressed her disinterest in him, whom which he continues to obsess.
That's
over.
more of the
They're usually.
close.
I'm not going to say the next one. Okay, we're going to move on. Another one is it is when a male is overly submissive to a female and gets nothing from it. So
that's another one too.
Because
that's not your role, man. You're not the submissive one.
So are only men?
So hold on, see the first option is
there's
just someone who's like overly obsessed with someone else. But now it's only just men. So by definition, or by the definitions that we've seen, women can be simps.
Right, because the secular, like those secular.
But I don't like that because it's a double standard.
Oh, we've been double standard.
Back to the double standards, y'all.
But I think that there is truth to that because I've actually seen dudes that are talking to women who are clearly
not interested,
way out of their league, right? Way out of their league. But they're buying them roses, buying them teddy bears, buying them chocolates, trying to fly them out to XYZ. And when it gets to that point where they are willing to spend their hard-earned money on flying them out to Tulum, Mexico, flying them out to LA, flying them out to Dubai, because you're trying to get in their pants and you're failing every time. And they essentially just use you for your resources. Oh, this guy's will pay for me and my homegirls to go party in Miami. Let's call him. He's gonna do it. He's gonna do it because he likes me. Yada yada yada. So it does get weaponized, and women do see that. So women take advantage of that simp, and they will use him for his resources, his money, and maybe his status. But that's essentially what my definition of a simp is. I don't know if you've dabbled in that.
That's what I've learned just now. But I feel like
I've heard stories too. I don't know if you heard stories about guys doing those things, but but
Will Smith is also a simp.
He definitely is a simp. But yeah,
he should leave that girl.
Have you had guys?
That's his wife.
Have you had guys?
Whatever, it don't matter.
Have you had guys?
She wasn't his wife when she was
out
all over her son's friend.
places. Because that's becoming a thing too.
Well,
like, yo, I'll fly you out, girl. Just name the place.
Not fly me out, but do like crazy stuff. Yeah, but
what's the craziest thing a guy's done for you, just to get with you?
What is the craziest thing a guy have done for me?
It's probably a lot. We about to find out.
A
Lamborghini?
No.
What?
No.
You pay the insurance on your own.
I mean, it's not the craziest, but
just like probably weird. Like what? Why?
I've shown interest that I wasn't interested in them, but in order.
Oh, so you took an advantage of it. Ah,
No.
see?
No.
Now the truth comes out. Put the bright light on her.
He wanted
There's three.
He wanted to take me out to dinner, and I was like, no,
Was it a
I
really
can't.
expensive place?
I mean, it was a nice place.
Mhm.
I'm not going to say where it was.
Okay.
Because he's
I wanna know where you wanna
no,
take me.
he's definitely no.
No. I want to know so we can go because we want to go to a double date with our,
We'll
with
talk
our
later.
girls. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
I like good food. Was it good food?
it was good. It was really good.
Ruth's Chris, bro.
I hate
Bro,
Ruth
I
Chris.
ain't going to Ruth Chris.
I hate it. I
Ruth
hate
Chris
Ruth
is overrated.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he took you to a nice
so
place.
He wanted to take me out, but I made up every excuse in the world, and he was like, "Why not?" And I was like, "Well, my hair's not done." So he actually sent me money to get my hair done.
Dang.
So he said, "Okay, well, how about?" And I was like, "Well, I'm not in the mood. I don't have any clothes to wear." And he sent me money again for my clothes, and I just made every excuse possible.
So was it more than 3 bills?
It was almost, I want to say $1,000 almost.
Oh my gosh, a stack.
Simping
To-
at
Almost.
its
It was-
finest, my
To be
friends.
exact,
That is
I
the-
think it was
Simping at its finest, my friend.
So here's-
wait, was the actual goal for him was actually to get in your pants, or was it just
That's a simp though.
That's a simp. Now, would you call a guy a simp if he did all that and his actual goal was to be in a relationship with you?
Yes.
No.
Really?
No, I wouldn't.
Like
me
purposeful
personally, if he's
relationship?
doing that
Yeah,
because he
because
wants to get
ultimately, like,
to know me and he really wants to be in a relationship with me, going based
So
off the Urban Dictionary, I wouldn't call him a simp.
What guy-
But what if you expressed?
I got a call, offsides, technical foul, throwing a flag, whatever. Listen, what guy wants to be in a relationship with you and doesn't want to sleep with you?
No, but I'm saying.
You know what I mean?
No, not like
no,
off the
no,
top.
no,
Like
no,
you
no,
don't
No,
expect.
you know what I mean? Yeah.
No,
Okay.
but she said. That
Okay,
in
you
the-
mean just hooking up?
No, but she said in the front end.
He expressed that he.
She said in the front end that she was not interested and still did these things and almost spent a stack on her clothes. Was it hair?
He got my hair, clothes.
Almost a
Clothes.
stack,
He did
bro.
a
No,
lot.
hold on.
Knowing
Did you
that.
keep the money or send it back?
No, she.
She kept the money.
Wait, so you didn't get your hair done?
I went and got my hair. I went out with him.
Okay, so
I mean,
but-
after all
but-
that, I did go out with
But
him.
you did get your hair done, which
Yes,
costs
I did.
money,
I
obviously, a
did.
couple $100s.
Yeah.
If you're gonna get really.
I went and bought hair. I went and bought
Okay, so
hair.
that's
put it in my
expensive.
head.
That's expensive.
I went and got an outfit and everything.
Okay.
Shoes.
Yeah, might
I
as
got
well,
my car
right?
wash.
Right. And
Got
so,
your car wash, put
and so-
gas in there,
so
put
you
a little
went
bit on
to-
the light bill.
Didn't actually cost you anything.
So you went for a free dinner, and knowing that you were not going to pursue possible relationship with him, right in the off rip, like you knew, you knew at your core that
But
you were not going to be in a
He had
relationship.
already expressed to me that he wanted to be sexual with me. So off top, I automatically written him off as far as I'm not going to be in a relationship with this guy. If you're
okay.
like overly at that point sexual with me, you haven't gotten a chance to know me.
Then that's a red flag. Red flag number 1, ladies. Red flag number 1.
But the simple fact, I felt obligated to actually at least go out on a date with him for the simple fact that he was persistent and, come on, I'll pay for your hair and stuff. And he sent it without me even, requesting or anything. He sent it before I even got a chance to say yes or no. So I was like, I'm not going to send that. Let me just go get my hair done and go out to eat. I
Right.
mean, I enjoyed the conversation, but at the end of the night, I was like, you know what?
There was no chemistry.
So more of the story,
No,
kids,
it
you
wasn't.
can buy women. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
Even though you said no, you're just like, yeah, I'll still go out with them. I've been like, no, bro. Heck no. I'm not
But
going out.
can you say he was?
I was young. I mean,
Yeah, and it sounds like he was kind of like assertive too. Like he was
was.
just so like.
even, and I think what turned me on, I wanted to actually go and, hear what he had to say and everything, but he was just talking about himself. He didn't give me a chance to talk. Like, everything just went downhill. So
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe we could have went on a second date or something. But after that, when I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not feeling it.
Yeah.
I'm not.
And it's okay to say no. It's okay to call a loss. It is what it is. But how long have you been on? For like an hour and some change?
Are you asking me?
Oh my God, we almost passed the 1 hour and a half mark. So I'm glad that you guys took this journey with us. There was a lot that we talked about.
Why are you surprised that we go anything under an hour? When you said an hour at the beginning, I'm like, ain't no way.
So thank you guys for getting on this journey, taking on this journey with us.
At least give him a shot.
At least you know what a simp is. And at the end of the day, we talked about it a whole bunch of stuff. We obviously talked about, adult content, relationships, sexuality, monogamy, essentially, hookup culture, what have you. I'm glad that you guys stayed this far. If you stay this far in this conversation, at the end of the day, for you, I just as a man, I'm going to talk to the guys that are listening, and just everyone across the board. Like, women are essentially the ones that need to be protected, and I think how a woman is protected is also our responsibility as men to be anchored in God. And I do believe that an anchored man, anchored in the Word, anchored in with God, is the byproduct of that is that women like Sam are going to be safe. Women are going to be protected, and women are going to be safer with men around them who are anchored with the Lord. Because I think that when men are not anchored to a higher power, to God, to the Lord, women are not safe. Women are not, their bodies aren't safe. Their physical beings are not safe. Their the spiritual health are not safe when they're around those types of men who are not anchored with God. And we just want to encourage you guys to get anchored, gets healed from your experiences, from your traumas. I know that you guys, it wasn't your fault that you experienced abuse at a young age. It wasn't your fault that you experienced these traumatic events in your early stages of your life, but it is your responsibility to heal. I know that it wasn't your fault that you were abused or you were sexually battered or whatever the case may be, but it is your responsibility to heal so the people around you are safe, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And I think that's the mainline thing that we can take away from these conversations is that we as men have a responsibility, and we as men do have a role, and women have a very, very important role in that courting, in that relational, even with friendships. I think women have a role in having friends with other women, having friends with other co-workers, other men. I think it all bleeds into all aspects of relational life, whether it be a romantic relationship, a business relationship, or a friendship relationship. I think it all is across the board that we have to be anchored. We have to know who we're with, who we surround ourselves with, and how we're going to lead a life that is going to be fruitful and not toxic and treacherous. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for listening on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and you guys in YouTube world. Thank you for watching us act all goofy and crazy and having laughs with us. Thank you, Sam, for coming through. I hope this is not your last. I hope you can come back because I had fun with you. Danny, you family, you're always welcome to come back. Till next time, guys, peace.